everybody, and here is, please excuse the dogs. Here is the step-by-step of how I make Big Mama bags, and I'm just checking to see. What we're seeing now is step one, which is I start with a pair of designer jeans that have been discarded or thrifted, which I get for a very low price, sometimes free. And you can see this is more of a size like a 12, and it's got the button, the crotch, and everything else. All right, so what we're really gonna try to do is retain a lot of the artwork that went into making these jeans, the buttons and the zippers, and create a bag out of it. So the first step is you're gonna see that these are cafe jeans. Okay, and it's got all the information. Notice how erased these jeans are fairly old. You can't even see the writing on this, but you can see the cafe types of jeans. In fact, they have on the leg, they actually have kind of a spurt type thing so that it holds the pants down. Okay, and let's see. The current frame is too low. I don't know what to do with that. Okay, so I got this. Alright. And you can see there. Now you can see the whole jeans, and you see a line I drew here. That's where the actual bag will end. And you can see that this is approximately 15 inches wide on the top, but it's much wider on the bottom. And it's approximately 12 to 13 inches high, okay, which is a good size for a bag. You notice that these are a size 12 or less jeans. You can't do this with a very large pair with anything over a 12, okay? Because you want to retain the top of the jean as the top of the bag. So you can see how these jeans have been are distressed. By distressed, I mean that they've been washed and bleached and with probably stones to get this look on them. They were probably started off as a blue pair of jeans. And I'm going to retain all of the loops. You see how I cut it here. Okay, and you can see that it's got darts to it. This on rare. It doesn't have any front and back pockets because these are kind of skinny jeans, and so they don't put the back pockets or anything, but they do have this nice loop. You can see again the other dart, more darts. Okay, so now I have cut a bottom to it to fit that's got round on each side. Rather than make the typical box, which I normally made, I decided this one would be a chance to practice a bottom that's kind of a roundish box, okay? And it'll be shipped around. Now, I had to gather the actual bag on the top to fit this because I didn't want this to be too large. So I first basted it, and then I sewed it, and of course I did the zigzag on it. You can see some of the basting, the steps. You can see that this denim is not actually denim, but it's a kind of a knit to give it that stretch. You can see how that is, okay? Sometimes you think something's denim, it's not necessarily denim. Okay, so now I'm cutting the lining, and I like to use this striped fabric, in fact, because I bought a lot of it. And I just cut the bottom to match and the top. So I had that cut before I showed you the basting. You should cut it before. So I have the lining cut to fit. I show you here how I sewed the bottom. I have to give it a couple of rounds of stitches, and I have to do some hand basting to gather on either the sides. Okay. And then, of course, the big job of attaching the lining. You have to sew the lining and the bottom the same way as you sewed the jeans and the two sides, and it should match almost identically to the bag. If it doesn't match exactly, you need to make some adjustments by hand, by folding, either taking in the lining a little bit on each side so that it fits this circumference. And then in order to attach it, because of the thickness of these jeans, I attached the whole thing by hand. There's a machine line here. That's just to make the fold that you need to make. But then I gave it 2 rounds of hand stitching, one in between and one on top. So you can see the needle here. Okay. And now you can see the needle, how I piece by piece attach the lining. You can see this thread I'm using is actually 2 colors. It's a gray thread, but it's 2 colors. It's a very nice camera. In the fabric that I use, and you can see the inside is the identical match to the outside. It's got that same bottom. Now this is a floppy, non-structured bag, so I didn't put any interfacing on the around. Usually I put interfacing, but the actual waist of this bag is already stiff enough to give it some structure. And this is how the bottom looks. This is a very, very distressed bag because the pants were purposely distressed. So this is how it looks without steam ironing it. Now, I didn't want to steam iron it because I like the look of this. I didn't want to destroy it. And here is how it stands on its own with that bottom that I put on it. Okay. And here's still the crotch gets closed up because that's going to be closed up. You can use the zipper to stash things in between the lining and the bag that you want to hide. And that's how the factory-made dart looks. So a lot of this, and this is the La Vie Cafe button that comes with it. So you can see that's all preserved. And here we are looking at making the straps for the bag. We're going to use 1-inch webbing in navy. And here he is cutting it. And now we put the D-ring on each strap holders. Those are the strap pieces that get attached to the bag itself, and then the strap actually gets hooked onto this D-ring. Here it is again. Here's my husband looking for the right pieces to attach that. He's put a little star here to attach the D-ring together, and then he's going to put additional studs to hold the rest of this to the bag. Rivets, I guess they're called. So he's put the rivet on here, and that's the little star that held it. So that's what it looks like. And now we have the 2 riveted pieces. That's where you're going to hang your strap. We give you a strap with it, but of course you can use any strap that you have if you want to use a different type of strap. The D-rings are there, and that's the lining showing. Okay. And here is the bag. I didn't show you, but I made a flap out of the legs of the jeans in that same fabric because it's fantastic. And I added a little hand sewn applique embroidered in gold. And that's how big this bag is. This is a fantastic bag. That's why it's called Big Mama, because it is a whole 15 to 16 inches this way, and on the bottom side it's about 13 inches, but it's also deep. In fact, the amount of stuffing I had to put in to fill this bag is fantastic. So you can use it for a beach bag, you can use it for shopping. And by the way, the flap can be removed. It is on I'll show you how it is. It is with snaps, so you can remove this. This is how the bag looks, the stuffing I put into it to make it look, and this is how it looks from the back. And you can see that here are 4 snaps that my husband put in, and this holds this flap so it can be removed and used just as an open bag if that's what you prefer. Okay, and that's the bottom of it, and that's how it looks. This is how I use this type of photo to remove background and put it against a cool background for the catalog. And it is that's actually our shop here. Okay, it is a very nice looking bag, and that was made today. It's a Big Mama. I don't know the color. I think it's a stone washed color, and it'll be sold for about $35 on the website. Look for it if that's what you want. Let me know if you want me to save it for you. I'm not putting it on. I give you the video before I put it on. Okay, so I'm going to go back and end this. Stop.